Hey guys, I hope you are well. Back with another court report, and I will not keep you in suspense. We will start with the ruling first in the Streets LA versus Joey Eckers. The final conclusion has finally come upon us, and the restraining order is resolved. Victory for Streets LA. So we'll start with that and kind of work our way down. And as always, if you guys enjoy what I'm doing and want more court reports and want to pay for a crappy Motel 6, I do have my Venmo and all that jazz, Cash App, GoFundMe if you do want to help out, but no pressure. So first I want to give you a general rundown. And then what I did is I tried to write down everything everybody was saying, but I wanted to take about 30 minutes to condense it, rewrite it, write the highlights, although it's still 3 pages worth, so we have at least a smoother delivery. And I also want to give, obviously, an initial rundown of why the church was unsuccessful. And I'm not going to rehash the entire case. You can look at the previous videos for that. But long story short, these were all based on 5 incidences. And when I do these direct quotes, these incidences will be brought up. So I want to give you some background on what these incidents are, so you don't get confused when I directly quote the judge, Judge Kaufman. 5 incidents. 2 are minor and were almost thrown away. That is a run-in at the grocery store and a run-in that Streets had with Joey at Laurel Canyon. So those 2 are thrown out the window. The 3 big ones are the moment in early December pertaining to the holiday party where harsh words were exchanged between Streets LA and Joey, and then another subsequent event that happened in January at 1 in the morning where Joey claims he did not insert himself and that Will was stalking him and that walked across the street to harass Joey when nobody else was on the street. And of course, Will retorts that there was a bevy of protesters on the street and that Joey was trying to harass the protesters. And he crossed the street to try to make sure that the protesters were following the letter of the law. That's incident 2. Incident 3 is the argument about the sons, with William initially saying, "Go talk to your son. Oh, wait, your son doesn't talk to you," or something like that. And with Joey responding, "I pray for your son." Essentially, those incidents, and there's one more, there's an additional one with the police station, which was essentially also thrown out the window because it could be purely coincidental. Who knows? Whereas the moment that Joey was filing his restraining order on the police, apparently William Good showed up. William Good's story is that he saw Joey, he immediately booked it the other direction, wanting to not violate any potential temporary restraining order. But all of these, boil down to 5 events, and the main events are all primarily outside. And this is the end argument, as I mentioned yesterday, that Streets LA's attorney has tried to use. She says, elder abuse is, you could think of the scene in Happy Gilmore, which is inappropriately funny. And in that scene, Ben Stiller plays the evil nursing home aide, and he pretends to be really nice to Adam Sandler's grandmother, and then the moment he leaves, he gets on his kiss mask and is harassing her, right? That would be legitimate elder abuse. She has nowhere to go. She can't go to anybody. She's too confused. She's being abused. That's the typical thing. So Streets LA's attorney notes that all of these incidences of so-called abuse were in public thoroughfares. Were not only in public thoroughfares, but along Hollywood Boulevard, which is one of the most pedestrian-heavy blocks in the entire nation. So there's a full expectation that there's protesters, that you'd be in public view, and that there'd almost be a war of the words, right? As I mentioned before, there'd be mutually assured destruction. Joey knows he's going to get some shade, and he's going to throw it back, and it's just the understanding. If you engage in this type of contact, then you know that you're going to get some harsh words directed against you. So you're essentially agreeing to the definition. You're agreeing to the rules of the game. If you want to be in the game, be on the street, and be interacting with the protesters, well, then you are essentially allowing yourself to be a victim of very harsh and unkind words. And then also Joey remarked at one point, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me." So in that moment, hair's going crazy. He is essentially giving permission to spew as many wrongful words, antagonistic words as he can, because he's officially stated you can do all you want, but words can never hurt me. Then he's saying he's gotten hurt, but he was saying before, don't worry, I won't get hurt. I've sort of given you my permission. So that was a lot of the big parts of the argument. I'm not going to rehash everything, and I guess I'll just read essentially what the judge has said. And again, I rewrote all of this, so hopefully the reading should be smoother than last time. But not 1,000% smooth, because of course I'm trying to write a mile a minute. So I'm trying to condense this as best I can. The judge says, and she starts with each individual situation. As per the situation involving both of your sons, the conduct between them falls in the ambit of the First Amendment. As for the incident at 1 a.m, it's clear on that day, Good was watching the buses of children. Remember, William Good was trying to watch to see if there were minors, Sea Org minors, being transported in this bus. And she continues, it is true that Mr. Good moved across the street towards Joey when he was watching the bus. But at that moment, Joey was talking intensely with two people who were streaming on their phones. I'm going to switch between Will and Googe is how I wrote it. Will does tell Joey, and she didn't say Joey, she said Mr. Eckers. Will does tell Joey that he is angry about the previous encounter involving their sons. Will yells and his comments are definitely mean-spirited and angry. But Mr. Good felt Joey was interfering with the protest. The court finds Mr. Good's claims credible. Speech comes in many forms. Good uses social media to spread his word, while Mr. Eckers uses free speech to insert himself into the protest. While mean-spirited, the court finds Mr. Good's words protected free speech, as Joey was trying to interfere with these protests. Go on another page. Furthermore, Joey admits the Church of Scientology paid his legal fees, which is further evidence that Joey had intent to shut down the protest the entire time. To issue a restraining order because Will aggressively challenged Joey would have a chilling effect. On January 17th, remember, I'm still quoting the judge the entire time. On January 17th, the harsh words of the respondents matched the harsh words of the petitioner. Again, guys, as I said before, harsh words match the petitioner. Mutually assert destruction. Or, as Will's deft attorney says, Joey gave it as good as he got it, which I think is the best way to phrase it. Judge continues. On December 3rd, at the Christmas event, this is the event where Will says, I will ruin you. The court doesn't find comments by Mr. Good to be credible threats. And months later, Joey is seen with an LA Times reporter, seemingly in a good mood, enjoying life. So she notes this because Joey inserted himself back into the same scene a multitude of months later, seemingly in a good mood. If you're traumatized by all interactions with these protesters, or even interactions with one of the protesters, you think you wouldn't want to go back to the same location. And yet he comes back, so the judge notes that. So the judge continues. Back to the 1 a.m. incident, petitioner is talking to people live streaming. It's clear Mr. Eckers is aware of people filming, yet he continues. The court doesn't find evidence that Joey was interfering. The court finds it is reasonable for Mr. Good to perceive Joey as a counter-protester. Meaning, so they go back to the incident where all the kids are there at 1 a.m. And there's a gaggle of people. And again, the attorney tried to claim there were no such kids, there were no such people. Obviously, there were. She says anything harsh, saying harsh words might be legal on its own anyway, but she's saying particularly in this environment when Streets is trying to protect his First Amendment right for free speech and trying to protect the right to protest, then it's even more so that William is in the right because he's protecting not one, but two civil rights that he is entitled to. Oh, and then we just have this final last word. So this is not a super long video unlike last time. And then the judge finally says, the TRO is resolved. But wait, there's more. So the attorney for Mr. Gooch shoots back. And guys, I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show Community, but it's a fun show about a community college. But the dean, the bald guy, I'm trying to remember the actor's name. He's a very funny actor. The attorney looks and sounds exactly like that guy, if you want an image in your head. He's taller and bulkier, but he's exactly like the dean in the Community show. Sounds like him too, has his high voice. So the attorney responds. And usually, after everything is all said and done, you think you just sit down and shut up. Not this guy. Because remember, guys, the next thing is to try to file again and try to negate what just happened. Everybody has a right for a second shot. And so perhaps Joey's attorney in all these remarks figured that he's setting up the situation where he's inserting enough evidence that was apparently negated, which we'll read, to give him another shot of filing this restraining order. It'll probably be dismissed immediately and with laughter. But he says, I'm shocked. And he says this very loudly. He says, I'm shocked. I've heard nothing of Good's physical activity and harassment. There's no mentioning of Mr. Good shoving his phone at my client's face. No mentioning of Mr. Good threatening him and saying, I will haunt your punk ass. Nor is doxing even considered in the ruling. Nor was it mentioned that two people crossed the street to confront, yell, and harass my client. The video shows Mr. Good circling my client, saying, I'm gonna ruin your life. You call this spewing of emotions? No, this is harassment. There was so much missed in this ruling, it is unfair. And he said it exactly like that. Luckily nobody's around me at this park, or they might think, hey, crazy man is screaming. So yeah, it's a quick video because if you want to check out the live, I do have an interview with Streets LA's attorney, and she does a great job giving a rundown of things. She's also representing Danny. So it looks like this sets precedents, guys. It looks like, Danny's in good hands. But it's not just TRO cases. It's all these cases with Scientology and protests. And yes, the precedent isn't law-defining in terms of the TRO and a different, it's not a Supreme Court case, but still the judge could look at that past and look at these past rulings and remark that, hey, in the past it has been ruled that there's a concerted effort to eliminate the First Amendment and to eliminate free speech and to eliminate the presence of the protesters by any means necessary. So this creates a great precedent for it, where hopefully there'll be something similar in these other patterns, because this is really the first case, honestly, in this protest, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that has had a definitive ruling. So it's gonna set a real precedent, and also might very well discourage Scientology from going forward if they know they're going to lose all the time. Although interestingly enough, even though there was a claim made last time, remember guys, last time Joey, the attorney for Joey, says not connected with any Scientology attorney, not pay, this conspiratorial connection is completely out of left field. Well, guess who was sitting in the audience? The man with moxie himself, Kendrick Moxon. He just got done with his unsuccessful jab with DOA and decided to go down. Also with the handsome Obama-esque looking Jay Wheeler. So both of them did show up. And, so who knows? Like, maybe they just found out it was a court case. Maybe they just ran into this door and saw some people talking. And it's like, maybe I should go in, and there's no connection. Or maybe there was a connection. I'll let you guys decide on that one. As for DOA, they're going on at the same time, guys. So you have to pick one or the other. That's the biggest tragedy. I thought this ruling was so important that took precedence. DOA gave me a rundown, and I will do a long video of him. Here's the good news. It wasn't much worth missing. It was a very quick hearing. That's why you missed it, man. I assumed they'd have a 2-hour back and forth. No, the whole thing was, I believe, 3 minutes. And there is a continuance, so no news on that. And DOA is trying to get Moxon as a witness, so we will keep you posted. And thank you guys for watching it, and thank you for just being with me in all these court cases. There's been a lot, and hey, it is not ending Aja and Danny on the 29th, so hope you enjoy it all. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.